The live show airs every Friday from 10 to 11, and we have encore plays on Saturday from 2 to 3 and Sundays 8 to 9 p.m. That's Pacific time. And shows are all archived on my website at CindyLavertyShow.com. My guest today is Sark, and you can find her at planetsark.com. Sark, thanks so much for being here.
Oh, Cindy, thank you so much.
Okay, so when you talk a lot about when someone is feeling sadness or loss, this is when the inner chatter has free reign. Those are your words.
Yeah,
How do we control those inner voices of doubt and fear?
Yes, and before I do that, I just want to go back to where we left off.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right, because some people will be poised waiting to hear.
That's right.
I just want to say that if you imagine a spectrum from 1 to 10, 10 being, obviously the highest and 1 being the lowest, a lot of people are spending time feeling things in the 7, 8, 9, and 10 range.
Yeah.
And what I'm showing with practical processes and practices is to show them how to get to the 1, 2, and 3 range. And I specialize, I do this in my books and I do this in my workshops, and I specialize in people who are resistant and perfectionists and procrastinators and people who are busy and avoid things like this.
That was me a while ago.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of people.
It was always just easier to be busy and avoid things.
Yes, and thank you for saying that, because let's speak for everyone who also thinks that, because now you know that it works in the short term.
Right. Well, it doesn't really.
It doesn't really, but it appears to.
Yeah.
And that's what's so seductive about it. And so if we avoid, deny, repress, eat too much, drink too much, we can sedate or anesthetize enough of the feelings so that we can, quote, keep going.
Right.
Well, meanwhile, a tsunami is building.
Mm-hmm. Of feelings.
An emotional tsunami is building, and it's cumulative. And this is why we even have something called a midlife crisis. And this is why we have people breaking down and having so much suffering and struggling, because they're not tending along the way.
Oh, that's such a great way of putting it. So midlife crisis comes when you've just been suppressing and stuffing feelings for years and years and years.
Yes, and let's tell everyone you are supported in doing so.
Oh, yeah.
Our society does not support you having or holding multiple feelings simultaneously. It does not support a feelings language, and it doesn't, in fact, teach a feelings language. So one of the things I'm working is to get transformational feelings language into all the schools.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
And some of this is happening already, and I would just like to add to that conversation because, you know, it's societally accepted that you walk around and you say, how are you? And you're pretty much allowed to say fine or not so good.
Right.
And, you know, we all...
And if you say great, people look at you like you're goofy or something.
Well, right.
I'm great. Oh.
Yeah, oh. And then, you know, there's usually a joke. Tell me your secret.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But you said a really important thing, which is, you know, what I said is whenever you're doing anything new, like listening to this show or reading a book like Glad No Matter What, it's prime time for inner critics.
Oh, well, you know, I battle with them all the time. I mean, whenever I'm facing something new in my life, especially creating a business, I mean, I hear these voices going, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? You can't do that.
Well, right, and let's remind everyone that inner critics are there for good reason, and they've grown out of proportion to what we need. They were there originally to protect us, and then they've taken on way more jobs than they're supposed to have. There's a saying about inner critics that they have an IQ of 400, that they know everything. And I'll tell you, you can dialogue with them and turn them into allies. There's a fabulous body of work called Voice Dialogue, which was pioneered by Hal and Sidra Stone, who are two psychotherapists in California. So if you just Google Voice Dialogue, you'll find more about it.
Voice Dialogue.
Yeah, but for beginners, you can't negotiate with these critics. So the first thing to do is recognize that it's happening, so that you have some awareness that you are being basically bullied.
Request that they go sit in a corner somewhere.
Well,
mind their own business.
You never request with a critic.
You tell them.
You tell them, but even more powerful is to send them far away to other countries and other places. So many of mine are in Japan right now.
Oh, good.
And they're helping in Japan, and they were helping in Haiti, and they will help all over the world for all the rest of my life.
Great. Sark, I got to take a break. You're listening to the Cindy Laverty Show. I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Carol Scott.